I am wolf. Ma-Ingan, as the Anishinaabe First Nations name it. For me, to be a wolf is to be aware of everything that makes up the natural world. When we are wolf, we are also moose, fox, beaver, and eagle. We are the water, the earth, the wind, and the forest. It is in the great circle of the living and the elements that the roots of our humanity are revealed. To be wolf, wind, and forest means to become more human, naturally. When I say I am wolf, it is also a way of expressing my solidarity with regard to this animal still misunderstood and persecuted. And it is this feeling of empathy, this solidarity that prompts me to tell you the story of the gray wolves that my parents and I observed and filmed for 20 years in the heart of what a large wildlife reserve of 7,000 square kilometers was in northern Ontario. This story began the day we met a young wolf. Babaloo, the first free and wild wolf who dared to look at us. The first one to dare taking an interest in us, despite the prejudices that usually make our species strangers, even enemies. Babaloo has been a revelation for us. He taught us that with patience and respect, we could study gray wolves in the Canadian boreal forest. Our adventure with Babaloo and his family, that we have named the Burnt Hills Pack, is told in the documentary series Wilderness Encounters. I sometimes refer to these wolves in this new series because I still have a lot to say and show about them. The year we got to know Babaloo, our observations of the Burnt Hills Pack ended in late October, after 90 days of intensive filming preceded by months of preparation, endless hours of watching and doubt, and all our life to dream of this improbable encounter with wolves. Monique, Reynald, and I were sad to leave Babaloo and his pack. Sad but also grateful because everything could have ended there. Despite our efforts and perseverance, humbly, we knew that a large part of this adventure was dependent on luck. Many people spend their life in forests without seeing a single wolf. We had just spent 3 unforgettable months with them. What more could we ask for? We were fully aware of the value of our observations of Babaloo and his siblings, but to be honest, it was very tough to observe the behavior of adult wolves. Without the wide field of view at the Burnt Hills Pack's rendezvous site, we might never have filmed a single image of the alpha female. Second limiting factor, unlike other areas of the wildlife reserve, few forest roads give access to the territory of this pack. 80% of our observations were made within a 2 kilometers radius of its rendezvous site, which was at about 50 kilometers from our base camp. So there was still a lot to discover about wolves, although we were blessed to be witnesses to several slices of life of this family. The following seasons were rather disappointing because we realized that the Burnt Hills Pack did not use the same rendezvous site yearly, what prevented us from doing a regular monitoring. From the age of 1, Babaloo kept his distance like adults. Added to that the fact that in time, some sections of the forest road leading to the rendezvous site were slowly disappearing. Getting there wasn't exactly restful. A journey of 10 kilometers in these conditions often holds surprises, and it also requires to be careful because in the event of problems, we are far from any help. Keep in mind that this wildlife reserve was almost as large as Yellowstone National Park. Despite these difficulties, nice surprises awaited us, especially when the Burnt Hills Pack stayed for a week at the rendezvous site to which we had access. The young wolves of the new litter have never seen vehicles or humans, and 2 of them seem curious to learn more about us. For them, our arrival is quite an event. The adults pay little attention to us. They recognize a familiar situation even after a break of several months. Their calm reassures the young wolves. When we are in the presence of gray wolves that have never been contaminated by civilization, we enter a new world. We can only be marveled and moved by the behaviors that innocence inspires in a top predator who is usually so fearful. At this point, everything becomes possible, or almost, as evidenced by the evolution of my contacts with the youngest members of the Burnt Hills Pack. Very soon I can distinguish the daring wolf, the curious but careful wolf, and the timid one who will always refuse to approach us. My favorite of that fall, the handsome Sunny, undoubtedly Babaloo's younger sister. It is not a matter of familiarization, but of tolerance towards the presence of the other to share a space for a while. I am neither threat nor prey. I belong to the category of species that a wolf doesn't care about, like the warbler which feeds on the last black flies of the season before migrating. Sharing the daily life of a wolf in the wild, joining it in the circle of the living. My studies of animal behavior sometimes lead me to be very close to wildlife, in a context where skill and wisdom are essential. So I advise anyone against using my techniques or approaching so close wild animals as permitted under the very strict framework of a study project in an isolated area that doesn't endanger their life. It may seem exhilarating to be so close to a wolf. However, that deprives us of observing more fearful ones and social behaviors of the pack. That is why I prefer observing from a blind. Staying farther inside the vehicle secures the wolves and increases our chances of filming intimate moments in their life. Today, with hindsight, I can say that our experience with the Burnt Hills Pack facilitated the other amazing contacts we have had with gray wolves. A pack has always occupied the area where our base camp is, but we never managed to observe these wolves satisfactorily. We could see tracks of their movements, the droppings and scrapings they left here and there to limit their territory. Often in the evening, occasionally we spotted a wolf while driving on secondary roads, but these accidental encounters were not very exciting from a scientific point of view. Thanks to its tracks and howls, we had a good idea of the territory occupied by this pack. On the other hand, its members stayed out of sight, like spirits. That is why we called it the Manitous Pack. Everything changes on a summer evening. A few kilometers from our base camp, Monique and Reynold filmed the scene through the windows of our vehicle. We immediately understand that the leaders of the Manitous Pack have changed. It is a new family made up of at least 4 adult wolves indifferent to the presence of our vehicle. All the hopes are allowed. It is like an invitation, a sign. The next day, we went to keep watch near a beaver pond by the roadside, where we had observed the pack. The behaviors of these social rodents are very interesting to observe. Tonight, someone else is keeping watch on the beaver family for a very different purpose than ours. The beaver is the main prey of the wolf from spring until late fall. One still has to catch it. This wolf is patient. He tries to go unnoticed and waits for the right moment. Ambushing is a hunting method commonly associated with felines. Here is the proof that the wolf excels in this art. For us who are watching the behavior live, it is very exciting and, above all, very promising. Despite its hunting skills, the wolf fails on average 9 times out of 10. As soon as a beaver slaps its tail on the water to alert its congeners, the wolf knows he will have to try his luck elsewhere. It is not really a problem for this one. He knows all the beaver ponds for tens of kilometers around. When the night falls after this extraordinary evening, only one conclusion crosses my mind. Other encounters with these wolves are possible, provided that we focus our wildlife observations on the territory of the new Manitous. The next episode will bring you to the following fall, as we learn more about some members of this pack. We will follow these wolves together and discover the wildlife that shares their territory.
In